Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is David Novak. Today I'm going to do a reading of some poems by Robert Service. This will be an impromptu reading. Earlier in the season I did a series of videos of poems by William Butler Yeats, A.E. Housman, W.H. Auden, Thomas Hardy, Emily Dickinson, I think. I had thought about doing Gerard Manley Hopkins, but at that point the effort petered out. I became involved with writing a book, and all of the usual activities of this channel ceased. I quit reading books and making videos about books that I had read and so forth. Recently, there is a really marvelous booktube channel called Sailing Through Books. And I don't know the name of the person who runs that channel, but she provides really incisive book reviews and just in-depth discussions about classic literature and so forth. Well, Robert Service came up on her channel, and somehow that led to some comment here or there in the comment section, and she suggested that I should consider doing a Robert Service video, and I thought that sounds like a very good idea. This will be something of an introduction to regular viewers of my channel to Robert Service, a poet that I don't talk about too often, one of the great influences in my life. So in preparation for this, I decided to buy the collected poems of Robert Service, something I never had. Got that volume real cheap. I think it was like $5, no shipping, and it's in beautiful shape. And I've been making my way through it slowly. In a sense, I'm a little bit distressed because this offers his collected poems from, I don't know, a certain year through 1940. Then there is a follow-up book of poems from 1940 through, I don't know, the 50s or something. And then there is a third book. And unfortunately, now that I have this, my completist urge wants me to get the rest of them. But I'm hesitant because the prices are a little bit above what I care to pay. And honestly, I don't need to read poetry at all for my own purposes. In 1994, I think I came out with my book of sonnets, and in here there is a poem which talks about that exactly. I'm not going to find it here, but it ends with something like, I have no need to read poetry, since my life's utter change she wrought in me, speaking of the beloved. And it's factually true. When you become a poet, and a little bit more precise than that, when you understand what you are doing with poetry or what poetry does, then you have absolutely no need to look at another poem ever. Now, there are often scholarly reasons and so forth to continue looking at poems occasionally. If you're giving a reading or something, you may wish to read some other poems. And for the sake of this channel, I try to keep myself abreast of poems. And if some new book comes out or whatever, or I find something in the used that just strikes my fancy, I'll buy it and just expand my horizons a little bit. But in terms of my own practice, it's absolutely not necessary. In terms of my status as a reader, and that is what I have been working on improving with this channel since it became a booktube channel about 2 years now, then just reading more to broaden my scope is just very in keeping with that aim of being a reader. So I thought I will read, just to start, one of these poems. The poetry I write is what I read, wrote Robert Service, and I go with him. In our technique and aims we are agreed, though scholars scowl his poetry to skim. The cackle of the geese and barnyard fowl preferred to eagles soaring overhead. The lesser poets, this was his avowal, instead of those great mighty masters dead. Longfellow too, and many more besides. You have to trust your heart. The reputation bestowed by scholars bald are but asides, tools to secure their own self-preservation. Cummings or Service, honest craftsmen all, with ye my brethren do I stand or fall. I read this elsewhere and talked about it a little bit. The Scholar's Bald is a reference to a poem by William Butler Yeats. Longfellow, he talked about wanting to be read to from one of the quote-unquote lesser poets. In my youth, certainly, Robert Service was not talked about at all. I think he was somewhat denigrated, along with the likes of Rod McEwen and by some E.E. Cummings. And for me, as a practitioner, it is not the canonization or the possible canonization of any poet that matters to me in the least. What a critic such as Harold Bloom might have to say, it is immaterial, irrelevant to me. All I care is that the sincere effort was there and that the poet fulfilled his obligation, his or her obligation, to the muse with integrity, with honesty, and so forth. None of us has the choice of what our verse comes out to be like. It could be this, it could be that, and that's just, that goes with bearing the mantle of the poet. So I have a video where I talk about my early introduction to poetry, and I should try to cut through this to get on to the poems. When I was 11, well, you know, I have a question and answer video coming up, and that was one of the questions asked. And so let me skip about when I was 11. In about 2 weeks, you will see that. If you have any questions for me to answer in my Q&A video or my AMA video, please let me know. So I'll skip the part about being 11. My first 4 poets, there's a video about this, but I doubt I could find it, were E.E. Cummings, Robert Service, Emily Dickinson, and William Blake. And I am not sure, I would bet that Robert Service is the second, possibly E.E. Cummings was the first. I don't remember anymore. But when my mother heard that I was interested in poetry, she thought about it and she steered me toward Robert Service. And so these were picked up probably at Crocs and Brentanos. And Robert Service had been her mother's favorite poet. So that is why she directed me to Robert Service. Now, as I came to grow up, Robert Service has generally been classified as a Canadian poet. Now, I don't know if he became a Canadian or what his citizenship status was, but he was born in England. Regardless, now, in retrospect, I can piece things together. My grandmother was Canadian. I actually had 2 Canadian grandmothers, but both were married to the same man successively. My my biological grandmother died before I was born, so I never got to know her. But through her, of course, I have this connection to Robert Service. At one point, even I came across her old book of verses by Robert Service, and it was all mildewy, and I thought about holding on to it for sentimental reasons, but it really was in terrible shape, and I got rid of it. Now, I've decided, for the sake of this video, because I'm not planning this in advance, I'm just going to read from my two old books, which are the ones I've had, goodness knows, probably 45 years or so. And I will just read poems from these two and not dip into this as yet. If I see fit to move on to further videos, then maybe I will be more systematic and pull out poems from here, or even if I get the succeeding volume, which I really would like to see for curiosity's sake. Now, I have not gone through these recently, so this is just going to be kind of impromptu, and we'll see what we get. He is most known for ballads such as The Shooting of Dan McGrew and The Cremation of Sam McGee. Those ballad poems were never my favorites of his. I think The Shooting of Dan McGrew is the one that President Ronald Reagan recited to Margaret Thatcher from memory at some conference they were at. Not one of my favorites. So I will skip those. I actually like the shorter ones. This book starts with, oh no, the other book started with that. Well, I will start with this is a little bit longer, but it will kind of set the stage for Robert Service. It's called The Spell of the Yukon. I wanted the gold, and I sought it. I scrabbled and mucked like a slave. Was it famine or scurvy? I fought it. I hurled my youth into a grave. I wanted the gold, and I got it. Came out with a fortune last fall. Yet somehow life's not what I thought it, and somehow the gold isn't all. No, there's the land, have you seen it? It's the cussedest land that I know. From the big, dizzy mountains that screen it to the deep, death-like valleys below. Some say God was tired when he made it. Some say it's a fine land to shun. Maybe, but there's some as would trade it for no land on earth, and I'm one. You come to get rich, damned good reason. You feel like an exile at first. You hate it like hell for a season, and then you are worse than the worst. It grips you like some kinds of sinning. It twists you from foe to a friend. It seems it's been since the beginning. It seems it will be to the end. I've stood in some mighty-mouthed hollow that's plumb full of hush to the brim. I've watched the big husky sun wallow in crimson and gold and grow dim, till the moon set the pearly peaks gleaming and the stars tumbled out neck and crop. And I've thought that I surely was dreaming with the peace of the world piled on top. The summer no sweeter was ever, the sunshiny woods all athrill, the grayling aleap in the river, the bighorn asleep on the hill. The strong life that never knows harness, the wilds where the caribou call, the freshness, the freedom, the farness. Oh God, how I'm stuck on it all. The winter, the brightness that blinds you, the white land locked tight as a drum, the cold fear that follows and finds you, the silence that bludgeons you dumb, the snows that are older than history, the woods where the weird shadows slant, the stillness, the moonlight, the mystery. I've bade 'em goodbye, but I can't. There's a land where the mountains are nameless and the rivers all run God knows where. There are lives that are erring and aimless and deaths that just hang by a hair. There are hardships that nobody reckons. There are valleys unpeopled and still. There's a land, oh, it beckons, and I want to go back, and I will. They're making my money diminish. I'm sick of the taste of champagne. Thank God, when I'm skinned to a finish, I'll pike to the Yukon again. I'll fight, and you bet it's no sham fight. It's hell, but I've been there before. And it's better than this by a damn sight. So me for the Yukon once more. There's gold, and it's haunting and haunting. It's luring me on as of old. Yet it isn't the gold that I'm wanting so much as just finding the gold. It's the great, big, broad land way up yonder. It's the forests where silence has lease. It's the beauty that thrills me with wonder. It's the stillness that fills me with peace. So I will be reading some poems that I am not particularly familiar with, such as this, because it meets with my criteria of being one of the shorter poems. This is titled The Three Voices. The waves have a story to tell me as I lie on the lonely beach, chanting aloft in the pine tops. The wind has a lesson to teach, but the stars sing an anthem of glory I cannot put into speech. The waves tell of ocean spaces, of hearts that are wild and brave, of populous city places, of desolate shores they lave, of men who sally in quest of gold to sink in an ocean grave. The wind is a mighty roamer. He bids me keep me free, clean from the taint of the gold lust, hardy and pure as he. Cling with my love to nature as a child to the mother knee. But the stars throng out in their glory, and they sing of the God in man. They sing of the mighty master, of the loom his fingers span, where a star or a soul is part of the whole, and weft in the wondrous plan. Here by the campfire's flicker, deep in my blanket curled, I long for the peace of the pine gloom, when the scroll of the Lord is unfurled, and the wind and the wave are silent, and world is singing to world. It's really tempting to read the Song of the Wage Slave, but I fear it's too long at the moment, and I want to find something a little shorter. This one I read recently, for some reason, My Madonna. I hailed me a woman from the street, shameless but oh so fair. I bade her sit in the model's seat, and I painted her sitting there. I hid all trace of her heart unclean. I painted a babe at her breast. I painted her as she might have been, if the worst had been the best. She laughed at my picture and went away, then came with a knowing nod, a connoisseur, and I heard him say, "'Tis Mary, the Mother of God." So I painted a halo round her hair, and I sold her and took my fee. And she hangs in the church of Saint Hilaire, where you and all may see. Just marvelous stuff, isn't it? Another short one. Unforgotten. I know a garden where lilies gleam, and one who lingers in the sunshine there. She is than white-stoled lily far more fair, and oh, her eyes are heaven lit with dream. I know a garret cold and dark and drear, and one who toils and toils with tireless pen, until his brave, sad eyes grow weary. Then he seeks the stars, pale, silent as a seer. And it's strange, for desolate and dim, between these two there rolls an ocean wide. Yet he is in the garden by her side, and she is in the garret there with him. You know, in my book, Against Holy War, I talked about the stanza form I employed, also in Fascist Heart. And I said I have come across it since. Well, I'm pretty sure it was somewhere in service that I came across it. As far as his prosody, he is a master. He's in looking through the poems in this book, I realized he's very comparable to Yeats. And Yeats is the widely considered the greatest poet of his generation. There's nobody like Yeats, but his prosody is much more rough-hewn than Robert Service. And when it comes to the matter of just simply putting the words on the page, Robert Service is definitely the master. So, The Reckoning. It's fine to have a blowout in a fancy restaurant with terrapin and canvasback and all the wine you want. To enjoy the flowers and music, watch the pretty women pass, smoke a choice cigar and sip the wealthy water in your glass. It's bully in a high-toned joint to eat and drink your fill, but it's quite another matter when you pay the bill. It's great to go out every night on fun or pleasure bent, to wear your glad rags always and to never save a cent, to drift along regardless, have a good time every trip, to hit the high spots sometimes and to let your chances slip, to know you're acting foolish, yet to go on fooling still, till nature calls a showdown and you pay the bill. Time has got a little bill. Get wise while yet you may, for the debit side's increasing in the most alarming way. The things you had no right to do, the things you should have done, they're all put down. It's up to you to pay for every one. So eat, drink, and be merry. Have a good time if you will. But God help you when the time comes and you pay the bill. I have a playlist. I'll put a link to it. I have playlists of various. If you just click on the playlist tab, I have a playlist of me reading poems by various poets. And there is one for Robert Service. And I'm sure that this is in there because it's one of my favorites. The Men That Don't Fit In. There's a race of men that don't fit in. A race that can't sit... I'll start it again. The men that don't fit in. There's a race of men that don't fit in. A race that can't stay still. So they break the hearts of kith and kin, and they roam the world at will. They range the field, and they rove the flood, and they climb the mountain's crest. Theirs is the curse of the gypsy blood, and they don't know how to rest. If they just went straight, they might go far. They are strong and brave and true. But they're always tired of the things that are, and they want the strange and new. They say, could I find my proper groove, what a deep mark I would make. So they chop and change, and each fresh move is only a fresh mistake. And each forgets as he strips and runs with a brilliant, fitful pace. It's the steady, quiet, plodding ones who win in the lifelong race. And each forgets that his youth has fled, forgets that his prime is past, till he stands one day with a hope that's dead in the glare of the truth at last. He has failed, he has failed, he has missed his chance. He has just done things by half. Life's been a jolly good joke on him, and now is the time to laugh. Ha ha! He is one of the legion lost. He was never meant to win. He's a rolling stone, and it's bred in the bone. He's a man who won't fit in. Of course, loss and failure is the stuff of poetry. That poem could be an anthem. Premonition. 'Twas a year ago, and the moon was bright. Oh, I remember so well, so well. I walked with my love in a sea of light, and the voice of my sweet was a silver bell. And sudden the moon grew strangely dull, and sudden my love had taken wing. I looked on the face of a grinning skull. I strained to my heart, a ghastly thing. 'Twas but fantasy, for my love lay still in my arms with her tender eyes aglow. And she wondered why my lips were chill, why I was silent and kissed her so. A year has gone, and the moon is bright, a gibbous moon like a ghost of woe. I sit by a new-made grave tonight, and my heart is broken. It's strange, you know. This one is called The Tramps. Can you recall, dear comrade, when we tramped God's land together, and we sang the old earth song, for our youth was very sweet, when we drank and fought and lusted, as we mocked at tie and tether, along the road to anywhere, the wide world at our feet. Along the road to anywhere, when each day had its story, when time was yet our vassal, and life's jest was still unstale, when peace unfathomed filled our hearts as bathed in amber glory, along the road to anywhere we watched the sunsets pale. Alas, the road to anywhere is pitfalled with disaster. There's hunger, want, and weariness, yet, oh, we loved it so. As on we tramped exultantly, and no man was our master, and no man guessed what dreams were ours, as swinging heel and toe, we tramped the road to anywhere, the magic road to anywhere, the tragic road to anywhere, such dear, dim years ago. That could, I suppose, by the folks who let anything in be classed a sonnet. I was actually surprised. In here, there are sonnets. I did not know he wrote them. They did not really make it into either of these well-beloved books of mine. Well, I'm going more slow than I might have thought. Of course, I gave this 10 minutes of preamble. The Ballad of Blasphemous Bill. I will skip that one. The Ballad of One-Eyed Mike. My friends. The man above was a murderer. The man below was a thief. And I lay there in the bunk between, ailing beyond belief, a weary armful of skin and bone, wasted with pain and grief. My feet were froze, and the lifeless toes were purple and green and gray. The little flesh that clung to my bones, you could punch it in holes like clay. The skin on my gums was a sullen black and slowly peeling away. I was sure enough in a direful fix, and I often wondered why they did not take the chance that was left and leave me alone to die, or finish me off with a dose of dope, so utterly lost was I. But no, they brewed me the green spruce tea and nursed me there like a child. And the homicide, he was good to me and bathed my sores and smiled. And the thief, he starved that I might be fed, and his eyes were kind and mild. Yet they were woefully wicked men, and often at night in pain I heard the murderer speak of his dead and dream it over again, of his deed and dream it over again. I heard the poor thief sorrowing for the dead self he had slain. I'll never forget that bitter dawn, so evil, askew, and gray, when they wrapped me round in the skins of beasts and they bore me to a sleigh, and we started out with the nearest post 100 miles away. I'll never forget the trail they broke with its tense, unuttered woe, and the crunch, crunch, crunch as their snowshoes sank through the crust of the hollow snow, and my breath would fail, and every beat of my heart was like a blow. And oftentimes I would die the death, yet wake up to life anew. The sun would be all ablaze on the waste, and the sky a blighting blue, and the tears would rise in my snow-blind eyes and furrow my cheeks like dew. And the camps we made when their strength outplayed, and the day was pinched and wan. And oh, the joy of that blessed halt, and how I did dread the dawn, and how I hated the weary men who rose and dragged me on. And oh, how I begged to rest, the snow was so sweet a shroud. And oh, how I cried when they urged me on, cried and cursed them aloud. Yet on they strained, all racked and pained, and sorely their backs were bowed. And then it was all like a lurid dream, and I prayed for a swift release from the ruthless ones who would not leave me to die alone in peace, till I wakened up and I found myself at the post of the mounted police. And there was my friend the murderer, and there was my friend the thief, with bracelets of steel around their wrists, and wicked beyond belief. But when they come to God's judgment seat, may I be allowed the brief. Just marvelous stuff. I mean, you might find that a tad corny, but the moral substratum, the moral rhizome is there. And I apologize for all the screw-ups. I haven't read these in decades. Some of them I have. Some of them I'm more familiar with. The Land of Beyond. Have ever you heard of the land of beyond, that dreams at the gates of the day? Alluring it lies at the skirts of the skies, and ever so far away. Alluring it calls, O ye the yoke galls, and ye of the trail over fond. With saddle and pack, by paddle and track, let's go to the land of beyond. Have ever you stood where the silences brood, and vast the horizons begin, at the dawn of the day to behold far away the goal you would strive for and win? Yet in the night when you gain to the height, with the vast pool of heaven star-spawned, afar and a gleam like a valley of dream, still mocks you a land of beyond. Thank God there is always a land of beyond for us who are true to the trail. A vision to seek, a beckoning peak, a fairness that never will fail. A pride in our soul that mocks at a goal, a manhood that irks at a bond, and try how we will, unattainable still, behold it, our land of beyond. Just think. Just wonderful stuff here. Just think. Just think. Some night the stars will gleam upon a cold gray stone, and trace a name with silver beam, and lo, 'twill be your own. That night is speeding on to greet your epitaphic rhyme. You, life, is but... could that be a misprint? It should be your, perhaps. I'm going to reread it that way. If I'm wrong, we'll do it again. Just think. Just think, some night the stars will gleam upon a cold gray stone, and trace a name with a silver beam, and lo, 'twill be your own. That night is speeding on to greet your epitaphic rhyme. Your life is but a little beat within the heart of time. A little gain, a little pain, a laugh lest you may moan, a little blame, a little fame, a star gleam on a stone. These are all words to live by. Well, two more, I think. The Quitter. When you're lost in the wild and you're scared as a child, and death looks you bang in the eye, and you're sore as a boil, it's according to Hoyle to cock your revolver and die. But the code of a man says, fight all you can, and self-dissolution is barred. In hunger and woe, oh, it's easy to blow. It's the hell served for breakfast that's hard. You're sick of the game. Well, now that's a shame. You're young and you're brave and you're bright. You've had a raw deal. I know, but don't squeal. Buck up, do your damnedest and fight. It's the plugging away that will win you the day. So don't be a piker, old pard. Just draw on your grit. It's so easy to quit. It's the keeping your chin up that's hard. It's easy to cry that you're beaten and die. It's easy to crawfish and crawl. But to fight and to fight when hope's out of sight, why, that's the best game of them all. And though you come out of each grueling bout, all broken and beaten and scarred, just have one more try. It's dead easy to die. It's the keeping on living that's hard. I think these are good words for us as we take up the fight against fascism. It will break us, to be sure, even defeat us. Next one is titled The Lost Master. And when I come to die, he said, ye shall not lay me out in state, nor leave your laurels at my head, nor cause your men of speech or rate. No monument your gift shall be, no column in the hall of fame, but just this line ye grave for me. He played the game. So when his glorious task was done, it was not of his fame we thought. It was not of his battles won, but of the pride with which he fought, but of his zest, his ringing laugh, his trenchant scorn of praise or blame. And so we graved his epitaph. He played the game. And so we, too, in humbler ways, went forth to fight the fight anew, and heeding neither blame nor praise, we held the course he set us true. And we, too, find the fighting sweet, and we, too, fight for fighting's sake. And though we go down in defeat, and though our stormy hearts may break, we will not do our master shame. We'll play the game. Please God, we'll play the game. Kipling is regarded more highly than Service, I think. But I think I probably love Service the more. To a comparable poet, now I can't think of his name. Banjo Peterson, I am much less fond. Well, why don't I add one last, slightly longer, The Wanderlust, to close us out sort of where we began. The Wanderlust. The wanderlust has lured me to the 7 lonely seas, has dumped me on the tailing piles of dearth. The wanderlust has haled me from the Morris chair of ease, has hurled me to the ends of all the earth. How bitterly I've cursed it, oh, the painted desert knows, the wraith-like heights that hug the pallid plain. The all but fluid, silence. Yet the longing grows and grows, and I've got to glut the wanderlust again. Soldier, sailor, in what a plight I've been. Tinker, tailor, oh, what a sight I've seen. And I'm hitting the trail in the morning, boys, and you won't see my heels for dust. For it's all day with you when you answer the cue of the wanderlust. The wanderlust has got me by the belly-aching fire, by the fever and the freezing and the pain, by the darkness that just drowns you, by the wail of home desire. I've tried to break the spell of it in vain. Life might have been a feast for me, now there are only crumbs. In rags and tatters, beggar-wise I sit. Yet there's no rest or peace for me, imperious it drums, the wanderlust, and I must follow it. Highway, byway, many a mile I've done, rare way, fair way, many a height I've won. But I'm pulling my freight in the morning, boys, and it's over the hills or bust, for there's never a cure when you list to the lure of the wanderlust. The wanderlust has taught me, it has whispered to my heart, things you all stay-at-homes will never know. The white man and the savage are but 3 short days apart, 3 days of cursing, crawling, doubt, and woe. Then it's down to chewing muclux, to the water you can eat, to fish you bolt with nose held in your hand. When you get right down to cases, it's king's grub that rules the races, and the wanderlust will help you understand. Haunting, taunting, that is the spell of it. Mocking, balking, that is the hell of it. But I'll shoulder my pack in the morning, boys, and I'm going because I must, for it's so long to all when you answer the call of the wanderlust. The wanderlust has blessed me in a ragged blanket curled. I've watched the gulf of heaven foam with stars. I've walked with eyes wide open to the wonder of the world. I've seen God's flood of glory burst its bars. I've seen the gold a-blinding in the riffles of the sky, till I fancied me a bloated plutocrat. But I'm freedom's happy bond-slave, and I will be till I die, and I've got to thank the wanderlust for that. Wild heart, child heart, all of the world your home. Glad heart, mad heart, what can you do but roam? Oh, I'll beat it once more in the morning, boys, with a pinch of tea and a crust, for you cannot deny when you hark to the cry of the wanderlust. The wanderlust will claim me at the finish for its own. I'll turn my back on men and face the pole. Beyond the Arctic outposts, I will venture all alone. Some never, never land will be my goal. Thank God, there's none will miss me, for I've been a bird of flight, and in my moccasins I'll take my call. For the wanderlust has ruled me, and the wanderlust has schooled me, and I'm ready for the darkest trail of all. Grim land, dim land, oh how the vastness calls. Far land, star land, oh how the stillness falls. For you never can tell if it's heaven or hell, and I'm taking the trail on trust. But I haven't a doubt that my soul will leap out on its wanderlust. Excellent way to end. I mean, you take that poem and dissect it, and you'll see it's masterful. As I say, in prosody, beyond anything William Butler Yeats could do. Not to denigrate Mr. Yeats. We value Yeats for other reasons, to be sure. So, I am having so much fun with this. I may do more of this, and we may go in the multiples with these videos beyond even the 4 I did for William Butler Yeats. Not to say that service is better, but it certainly is fun. Thank you for stopping by my channel.